Good evening, Winthrop votes, and welcome to, what is it, the 41st episode?
40th episode.
Todd, 40th episode. Todd Sacco here with my superstar co-host, Scott. Scott, how are you doing? It's Scott McLean.
Doing all right. Hey, listen, on that intro, right? Do you know exactly when it's going to stop now?
I
Do you
used
have
to,
the rhythm down to that? Huh?
but it's not a minute anymore. It used to be a minute.
Yeah.
Now
it.
It's in 40-something seconds, so I'm almost there. Are you trying to?
I got it timed. How many times it goes?
Oh my God, that thing! Yeah, I hear that in my sleep, though.
So as usual, just gonna kick it for a minute and let people come into the live stream. You know, it's what's the weather up there right now?
It's beautiful. It's warm. It's actually a little humid, so F off.
Hey, listen, it was hot today down here, buddy. It was hot. No doubt.
I meant to ask you.
Yeah.
Do you have the 4 buckets now, or do you have the slanted cover? Which one is the new
4
one?
buckets. That was my. See, I used to call that float the shade, right? And I'd get one of the canopies, right? That you have at a soccer or football, and I put it in 4 Home Depot buckets, right? And it was beautiful. It worked. But every once in a while, I'd come home and one of the buckets would be flooded, and it would be on 3 legs, right?
Somebody made a wave.
and you know, pools down here in the summer, they can get hot. I mean, you're out in the sun, and they're fun for a minute, just like any pool.
Yep.
And, you know, it beats the hell out of you. So I decided, you know, my wheels are always turning. I look at things differently. And I came up, I did the measurement, and I'm like, you know what? This will work. So now I put that sunscreen. It actually keeps the water temperature down, because pools down here can hit 90 degrees.
Yeah, who wants that?
It's kind of warm. Yeah. Mine usually stays around 85 degrees, you know, which is a perfect temperature down here for your water.
Yeah, you get in, get refreshed.
Yeah. So I'm always thinking outside the box. To my wife's just kind of amazement or chagrin or whatever you want to call it, her head shaking. She's like, he's thinking of something now. He's thinking of something, which is always going to cost money, by the way.
I think, right. Well, I think there was a time when it would be scary. Now it's more just going to cost money.
Always costs something. Yeah.
Didn't you go through a thing with air refreshers or some type of recycling things on your house or something?
No, I got the ductless ACs.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, that's it.
Dude,
that's
listen. I went to the Philippines a couple of years back, right about 2018 now, right? A whole country can't be wrong. I'm dead serious. A whole country cannot be wrong. Ductless ACs are the way to go. High efficiency, they're high SEER ratings. They're easy to maintain. You don't have a 1/4-ton thing on the side of your house. Dude, a whole country cannot be wrong. But the air conditioning industry has such a strong lobby that they keep these things pressed down.
Yep.
You know, just like I have a tankless water heater.
Right. Yep.
Dude. Now up there might be a little different because the water's really cold coming from the ground, but you know, depending on the size. So I'm all into the technology, man. Stuff works. But these ductless ACs, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 of them in my house. But I have 2 central AC units, one for one part of the house and one for the bedroom side of the house. I don't even use those things.
You don't have to.
The electricity bill's like, boop.
Yeah, they're so much more efficient. Those they call them mini splits, don't they now?
Yeah, mini splits, ductless ACs. Yeah, I get one. I'm telling you, get one.
Get one.
Yeah. So I attended my stepdaughter. Well, my daughter. I call her I hate that step. There's no time for that stuff, right? She's my girl. Her high school graduation from West Boca Raton. And it was a beautiful, ceremony. She had a couple of those tassels around her. A really, really smart kid. They flashed a graphic up on the pre-show, right? The pre-graduation. It said like 85% of the students, the seniors at West Boca, graduated with at least 1 college credit.
Wow.
She had 30 college credits.
Holy crap.
So now she's basically going to FSU as a sophomore.
Wow.
She has to take a couple of, it's basically, she has to finish some freshman things. So a month ago, my stepson graduated from FSU, Florida State, and now my daughter's going to Florida State. So it's a lot of brain power in this house.
Yeah, I mean, what happened?
I'm not part of it.
You're just taking up space in there.
No, I'm just the raw, just the grunt. I'm just the grunt.
I feel your pain.
I'm the protector. They're the brains. They got the brains. I have the brawn.
That's how it's supposed to be anyway.
Yeah. You want to make any comments about the Lydia Edwards show?
So let me ask you, how much of that did you watch? Did you get to see?
I didn't get to see it all. I came in on, I know you had asked about CRT, and she doesn't know the definition. There is a definition. I can read the definition. It's easily, you can easily look it up. But in the transportation issue, so I came in around that time, and then I was kind of in and out because I was getting ready for this.
Yeah, so you really didn't miss much, because no matter what the topic was, to me anyway, my takeaway was it was all the same, right? Like every question asked had an answer that none of us in that room, because we're all on the right side, pretty much on the right side of things, and when she opened, the whole idea was, she said, I came here to learn and listen. And then she just stood her ground and basically rattled off her positions. Like, I don't use, this is she made it a point to make sure we knew she calls them undocumented, whatever is workers. Right. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this. She's in being the devil's advocate. I'll be the devil's advocate. She's an inexperienced politician, right? I don't know what her background was going into this. If she had any local politics anywhere I don't know.
She gave a little history. She was a lawyer, then she was been on Boston City Council. Now she's a state senator.
Oh, that's right. She's still on the council, right?
Right. I think she's still serving 2 masters. I'm not sure though.
So I don't know. My observation was she's not very versed on a lot of stuff.
No, I don't think so either.
I'm just trying to, I don't know. I'm trying to give her a break here, but that's right. I forgot she's on the city council, so she's dealt in politics.
So Scott, she knows how to regurgitate what has been in the bills. If we caught that, like, she can tell you what she supported in the bills.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there in terms of substance of creativity or how she's building relationships. She's a junior senator. I actually had no expectations, because I've tried to talk to her. I called her out for not responding to me, and when she got the mic and I couldn't talk anymore, she's like, you should email me. But I did everything she said to do. I did everything, and I gave her a friend, Ed Cash, who I know has this direct line. I know he does. So I mean, she's not an honest person.
Well, maybe, again, devil's advocate, maybe you're a
scary.
You're kind of a pain in their ass, maybe, and they avoid that because it's you. You know what I mean? They're a small machine. Yep. And you're Todd Sacco, host of Winthrop Votes, and on the ordinance committee in Winthrop, right? Ordinance review. Yeah. You gotta. So I don't know. I wasn't thoroughly impressed with her. No. Forgetting that she was on the city council and still is, I was saying, well, she's new, so she probably doesn't. She has people telling her what to say. I suppose you have coaches. You have to. Yeah. But I wasn't thoroughly impressed by her. I didn't think she came across.
Well, if she wants to work with us, she has to be more open-minded. She's like Julia Wallace in the respect that they're all about more public transportation. But for decades, we've seen how that only caters to a certain segment of the population. It's not going to be a solution to traffic problems. It's not.
I was slightly amazed in a bad way when she said that the immigration issue can't be solved with a wall. I mean, are you?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? You want to just talk to their government like Kamala tried to go down to South America and talk to those governments? And yeah, look how that went. But that's their thing. I think the Democrats look at them as potential future votes. That's why they get the free license. You need a license to register to vote in Massachusetts. So they give them a license. Listen, if they pass the laws, then you can't argue. It is what it is.
Nothing we can do.
You know, but to say that the wall was working.
Yep.
I even messaged in during the live stream. So look at the data. Look at the numbers. Then and now. It's night and day. But to say, you know, and that was such a staged answer.
Yes, it was. And it wasn't completely honest or accurate, Scott. I mean,
this wasn't accurate at all. It was just she's told what to say, I guess. I don't know.
They pay taxes my butt, some of them, because I know for a fact that some of the people who have been bussed here from the border are in schools in Marblehead, okay, in rental apartments that they don't pay for, which means guess what? They don't pay taxes, and they're going to school in Marblehead, okay, but no one in their family contributes to the tax base in Marblehead. Now, obviously, Marblehead can absorb that. They'll load it up there. But the point being, I don't know if it's happening here because I can't get a straight answer, but I'd be shocked if we don't have some that have come from Texas.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I like what DeSantis did. Send them back to Delaware.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Governor Abbott in Texas, send them to D.C.
That's it. We should.
You know? And DeSantis said any private airline, any private transportation company that helps do this will lose their business license in Florida.
That's government.
You know,
hands down.
It's unbelievable. But so overall, you did a good job getting out of there too. You went right down to the last minute. I know. I had to sprint home. I almost was late. Yeah.
I didn't want to miss our big date tonight.
Yeah. So who is our date tonight?
So do I go with the hammy build up so in full disclosure,
Let's be professional. Let's be professional.
In full disclosure, and most people who watch this will know that this is what this is, but this is a friend of mine. There's no, I'm completely biased. I'm completely biased. And so I want to get that out there. But we have an interesting guest tonight, right? The new state representative from Winthrop for our district. And I want to this intro is important to me because you, Scott, and I think I speak for us both when I say we care more about somebody standing for something and having integrity and morals than we do with agreeing with them, right?
It's true.
And this is a guy that if you don't agree with him, it's okay, right? He's okay with it. He'll still work with you in any way you can. And he's a guy that stands for something. He stands for things. And I hope we get a chance to learn more about that tonight.
And my career was built on integrity and morals. So that's, right. That's why I have so much respect. Like I said, we don't have to agree with everything people say. I don't have to agree with anything they say. That's right. If they have integrity and they have morals and what they believe in what they're doing, they're not being coached and following a script, then I respect that. You can't not respect it, right?
Yeah, you can't. And this guy doesn't quit. That's why him and I get along. I mean, you know me, Scott. When I sink my teeth into something, I don't let go.
That's why we do this show, buddy.
I bit into his campaign, and I never let go. Right. Every time he ran, I was there.
And you're a conservative. He's a Democrat.
That's right.
So that says a lot.
Yep. That
says a lot. All right. You want to introduce him?
Yes. So without any further ado, Scott, let's bring in Mr. Jeffrey Rosario Turco Esquire.
State representative. Give him his title. Give him his due.
There he is.
Oh, hey guys, how are you?
Did I ham it up enough? Did I ham it up enough for you?
I was hoping for like the Camelot entrance song playing.
Yeah.
I want.
How's this?
All right. It's like playing the old Russian USA hockey
There you
hockey
go.
game at the arcade.
Oh yeah, the video arcade.
The bubble hockey.
The bubble
Absolutely.
hockey. Oh, it's the greatest. It's the
Absolutely.
greatest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kids today wouldn't even know why is it Russia that we're playing in that game? You know?
Who's Russia?
To this day, yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
CCP.
Jeff was in the green room, and I saw you had you were gonna come on with. This is it. This is.
I got my daughter.
Look at that. This is a. Now you know he's a down to earth guy.
I was trying to see if you were paying attention to the
I
green
see
room.
everything, buddy.
I
see
can't
everything.
see it. I don't have access.
I see
I'm locked
everything.
out.
That's why I started laughing while Todd was talking.
Oh, I didn't say something funny. So-
Okay.
So, Jeff, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time. I obviously, you can take as much time as you want tonight. It's totally up to you. I think the best way to start, and Scott would probably agree with this, is have you give us a little bit of a bio or whatever you want to kick off with to tell us about yourself, and then I'm sure we'll come back with some questions for you, and we'll keep it light.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'll give for the audience. I'll give you the background. I mean, I grew up in Revere, lived 33 years of my life in Revere. Now I've lived 18 years or almost 18 years here in Winthrop, married with 6 kids, ages 16 to 6. My wife was a Catholic school teacher for 6 years before becoming a stay-at-home mom. I'm a lawyer by trade, served in local office for 2 years as council president and member of the school committee, served on the Democratic State Committee for a number of years. And then obviously there was a special election for this seat last year, and I ran for it, and it was a hotly contested race. There were initially 5 people pulled papers, 4 people made it onto the primary ballot. And fortunately for me, I was given the opportunity by the voters to win the Democratic primary, and then had an unenrolled candidate and who's a good man, and also a Republican candidate who's a good man. And we ran a spirited race, and I'm blessed to have prevailed and got sworn in by Governor Baker on April 7th of last year. And it's the best opportunity, best job in the world, because it gives you, other than being a dad and a husband, because it gives you an opportunity to help people. And that's really what politics is all about. The big issues I talked about during the campaign, we spend a lot of time talking about big issues, climate change, whether it's gun control or whether it's, how to increase the efficiency of the electrical grid or wind power. But at the end of the day, this is a meat and potato district. People are calling you because they have a problem with their unemployment. They're calling you because they have a problem with a disabled adult child that needs assistance. They're calling because they have a family member dealing with substance use disorder issues, and we get a failed system with Bridgewater State Hospital, and how families that seek assistance they go to court seeking help. The kids get sent to Bridgewater, and then the families say, "Why did I do that? All we did was put them in a jail cell, effectively, not give them treatment." And so it's good to be in a position to try to help change some of that stuff.
Wow. So, Jeff, I'd like to ask you, this is always the curiosity. You guys started, first of all, you started not being able to go to your office after you were sworn in. Is that true? So what happened there?
So it was crazy. I mean, Massachusetts was the last state house in the country. So the last out of 50 to open up the state house to the public. I was a member. So 18 freshmen got sworn in January of 2021. I got sworn in April, and one of our other colleagues got sworn in late summer, early fall. So there were a total of 20 freshmen, and we finally got our office space this March of 22. So it took forever. So we had last July, the speaker set up what they call the bullpen. It was a committee room that was converted into space for all 20 freshman reps. We had, an office space where our staffer wasn't allowed in the building because they were concerned about COVID. So it was just the 20 reps could go there. Constituents couldn't come in to see you. So I really spent a lot of time just sort of showing my face in the district, going to coffee shops, going to different events so people would have an opportunity to talk. I put my cell phone number out there for people that they can call if they have questions. But now we're in normal routine. The building's open. Any member of the public can come in. We're all in office space. Our staffers are in office space, and it's good. It feels real for the first time in a year.
Yeah. So have you had? I'm assuming you've had some people coming in. Then does it work? I'm assuming it's by appointment as well.
No, I mean, so obviously, it's not a job in the sense that I don't have to be there 9 to 5. I'm out and about in the district. I'm out and about meeting with people, talking about things that people are concerned about. Like on Friday, I met with a constituent from Revere on Rocky Beach at 3:30, and we spent a couple hours walking around talking about some of the defects that have gone on and the lack of care and attention that DCR has placed on that beach. And so if somebody came in the office at 3:30, they wouldn't have found me. So it's preferred that that's why I give everyone my cell number. It's preferred they reach out and call me and schedule something with. If I'm not there, my aide, Jake Lettieri, top-notch kid, he's there. And, we work really good together. Incredibly energetic, intelligent young man. And, couldn't be happier that he's my aide. And so one of us, and then if we're not there, they leave a message with one of the other staffers from the other rep's office, and then we get it. So that's the basic gist of how it works.
So, Jeff, there was a special election. Who did you replace?
I replaced, so the longtime representative from Winthrop, Bob DeLeo, was our state rep for 25, 26 years.
Yeah, a lot of years.
He resigned to become a university fellow at Northeastern University. And so it was a special election triggered by his resignation.
He served a long time. From what I understood, because I wasn't living there, I was serving my country, Todd. What were you doing?
Don't answer that, Todd.
I was serving myself.
You were bad mouthing the country. Yeah. He was, and this is what some people had said, because as I've told you guys earlier, I don't live there, so I'm not going to be I wasn't going to really jump into this. So I had people that live in Winthrop send me emails or send me comments. And DeLeo got some good feedback from some of these people. They said he served the community well for many years. He was responsive to his constituency. He supported a lot of causes throughout the town. He was able to funnel a significant amount of money into the town's coffers, which helped the town tremendously over the years. So sounds to me like you had some big shoes to fill, yeah?
Absolutely incredible. He's the longest serving speaker of the Massachusetts House of Representatives in our history. And it's funny, I would talk to people when I was a local official and when I would sort of run for other offices over the years, and people would, some people would complain about the speaker, and I would always say the same thing. Sophocles, it's at the risk of sounding overly, it's a quote I like. Sophocles once said that one must wait until the evening to know how splendid the day has been. And Bob DeLeo's legacy on Winthrop, we're in the evening now, and we're seeing how much work and how he delivered for the people of Winthrop. And really, it's unparalleled. I mean, we had a governor from this town, Ed King, when he was governor, and I dare say that Bob DeLeo, during his time, delivered far more than even a governor did for this town. And he's been great to me. He's been sort of taking on the role of a mentor, give me advice and guidance, and really opened a lot of doors for me up on the Hill with some of his former colleagues. And I'm indebted to him because I think he's as a resident of the town, but also as a rep in his success.
So he wasn't like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. He didn't just blow you off and say you're on your own.
No, he has gone out of his way. On a serious side, I mean, he has gone out of his way.
Yeah.
And I'm not like Favre or Rodgers because I don't get the $25 million or whatever they get.
Hey, but you can make a difference. You can make a bigger difference than them, my friend.
I'll have to ask him if I could be his executive assistant as university fellow.
What a stand-up man, my friend Jeffrey Rosario Turco. Moving pencils.
Well, Leo Haskell just commented in, I support Jeff 100%. Community is his number one priority. Leo Haskell, hardest working man in show business. Friend of the show.
Leo.
Friend of the show. We're trying to get him to run for some sort of town.
Leo is just an incredible person, and it's always about how to make it a better community. His whole family is just has just been an incredible asset to the town, and it's good stuff.
I'm trying to get him to run for a council spot or something. He's been there long enough. He's in touch with enough of people. But enough about Leo. This show isn't for him.
Wait, he was on the campaign team, though. He helped us.
Just run for anything, Leo. Don't run for rep.
Don't say that, Jeffrey. Don't say that. On this show, we like competition.
I do too.
Hold on. I got to be transparent about that. Hold on. Before we,
Yeah.
Jeff, I thank God that you and I don't have to do all the hard work. That's all I'm saying. Okay, move on.
So you're up for re-election, Jeff.
Yes.
Now you're running unopposed. I heard, right?
So there's no Democrat running in the Democratic primary. So I am unopposed in the Democratic primary. Nobody has pulled papers on the Republican side, but they could still go and try to run a sticker campaign. If they get 150 stickers on the ballot in September, then they would be on the ballot for the general. But as of now, I'm unopposed.
So that puts you in an interesting position. One side of the coin could be it's an easy ride, right? And no one's going to question you because there's no one there to question you, right? It's almost a... But then there's the other side of the coin wherein you almost have to go above and beyond to show that you didn't just glide into office, right? Do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You don't want people to think you took it for granted.
Yeah.
And so you have to go out and you have to run a campaign. And in some way, you're right. In some way, it's even more difficult to run unopposed.
Yeah.
Because, you have to sort of try to narrow the focus of what you're going to talk about during the race, as opposed to if you have an opponent and they're highlighting particular issues that they disagree with you on, then that sort of fills the space, so to speak.
Yeah.
When you don't have an opponent, you have to kind of do that yourself and make sure it's stuff that people are interested in too.
Yeah, I would think that you'd want people to notice that you're actually going above and beyond, even though you're not you're running unopposed.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, when I ran, I said one of the things that I promised people was that I was going to be myself. I wasn't going to go along to get along. I want to get up there. I wanted to get up there and have an opportunity to work within the system and move up the chain, so to speak. But at the same time, always be true to myself. And so one of the things I was looking forward to, assuming that I had an opponent, was it would give you the opportunity to talk about, well, why am I different than some other, I consider myself a JFK style Democrat. I'm an old fashioned, what I call a rational, pro taxpayer, pro working class Democrat. And that's how I voted over the last year since I've been a member, and so, my Republican colleagues filed an amendment to the state budget, which I co-sponsored, to cut the gas tax for the summer. And I was one of, I think, 4 or 5 Democrats to vote for it. And so somebody said to me, "Oh, you're going to come back aboard the team?" And I said, respectfully, I'm aboard the working class team. And the working guys getting stiffed and hosed right now with the high price of gas. They're getting stiff with the high price of inflation and what it's doing for the cost of their groceries, what it's doing for the cost of their utility bills. And so, I was happy to vote for it and say, like, why aren't we doing this? This is something we need to show the working class that we understand their plight. And with unparalleled revenue numbers coming in, we had a $3 billion projected surplus. But also, it's a matter of values too. Like I said to a couple of the people that asked me why I voted for it, I said, we spent $35 million of taxpayer money in December of 21 and in February of 22 to resettle refugees in the Commonwealth, which I support. But then we spent $20 million in this budget to give prisoners free phone calls, which I don't support. And I said, we can't give $100 million in tax breaks to the working class guy that's creating all this revenue. It's and so it's sometimes that you feel a little lonely when you want a 4 speaking out on it, but at the end of the day, it's the right thing to do. And I think that's why people sent me up there to represent them.
Somebody had messaged in, commented in, the MBTA seems to be hosing us with new bus lines. Is that something?
Yes. So a couple of things that are happening right now is, we've been getting clobbered. This goes back a few years ago too. When you're leaving Winthrop and you're going up to Oregon Heights, there's this whole new sort of philosophy on sidewalks, that sidewalks shouldn't be a certain more than a certain distance across. And so they created this bump out at Oregon Heights where the curb cuts down so you can only have 2 lanes of traffic instead of 3. Oh. And it's really caused terrible traffic nightmares for Winthrop trying to get out of town in the morning. And so that's been the first step in the process. And these bump outs you're starting to see them everywhere. It's frustrating.
Yeah, they're traffic. They're by design to make it slower driving.
Right. The second part of it, though, is the MBTA. Obviously, the blue line's been shut down from Airport Station to Government Center in order to fix some of the difficulties they have there. unfortunately, those are maintenance issues that just can't be postponed because safety is paramount. And so I've gotten a lot of calls from constituents talking about delays that they've experienced. They're also changing around the bus routes, but now coming up, and a lot of people have reached out to me in this, including at my office hours this morning, that they're going to be shutting down one of the harbor tunnels, and making it two-way traffic. And that's going to be quite a lengthy period of time. And the question is, there's been a lot of mitigation for East Boston. How does Winthrop what is Winthrop getting out of this deal? And so
I have some questions about that.
Yeah.
Winthrop's not getting anything from
there's
Massport, but
questions, it's
Windows.
answers.
Winthrop's not getting anything from the what is it, Mass Water?
Yeah.
They
Well,
get
Mass
nothing.
Highway.
Well, but just a couple of things. I mean, Massport does pay the town approximately $1 million a year in mitigation money. That's, to his credit, former Senate President Travellini, who is from East Boston but now lives in Winthrop. He's the one that basically forced them to do it. The MWRA gives close to $1 million a year to the town in mitigation and to help pay for some of the. So though they present a lot of headaches for us, and I'm certainly not an apologist for the agencies, right. I just think they do give, for a town with our budget, the money that they give to the town, really, we'd be looking at an override if it weren't for that money. Okay. So how the money was spent in past years is a whole nother story. We could spend a whole session on. But in terms of mitigation from MassDOT, you guys are talking at the intro about Senator Edwards, and she and I, since she's got sworn in, have really working to develop a good partnership. And every one of our discussions is always how can we help Revere? How can we help Winthrop? And she has been, we may disagree, and we joke about it sometimes that we disagree on almost every one of the policy issues, but at the end of the day, about how to get mitigation for Winthrop and in mitigation for Revere is something that we're in lockstep on. And so we're going to be reaching out to Secretary Tesla to have some follow-up conversations about what can we do to mitigate some of this strain that's going to be on Winthrop residents and Winthrop transit users when the tunnel gets shut down. The one thing I do want to point out is, thanks to the hard work of our town manager, our acting town manager, the MassDOT, and sort of, I think, in part anticipation of the burden that's going to be placed on the town by the tunnel project, agreed to pay all of the town's deficit from the ferry service last year and to fully fund the ferry service for this year.
Yeah,
the ferry service in the town is happening only because the town manager's good efforts working with Secretary Tesla's team to make sure, say, hey, I don't just need money for this year, I need you to pay last year's deficit. And they did that. And so that's sort of the first step in the process. There are a whole bunch of other pieces Senator Edwards and I will work on with the Secretariat, but I think that should be recognized, because I think it's a good first step in mitigation. We got to do a better job as a community to promote the ferry now too.
Jeff, on that note on transportation, because that was a topic tonight I went to the Lydia Edwards thing, and the same old, in my opinion, expanding the MBTA is the same old. It's not really going to have much impact because it doesn't work for a large chunk of the people, especially in Winthrop. It's such a long ride, on a bus to get to the T. But if you have kids and you have to go shopping or to sports afterward, it's just not convenient for everybody. So one of the ideas I was thinking, and I wanted to get your opinion on this, is if it's even feasible. One of the silver linings we've had of this pandemic is that we've learned, we already have a lot more people working from home. So traffic has been reduced. It's not back to the levels pre-pandemic. It's bad, but it's not back to pre-pandemic levels. Could we not, as a state or cities even like Boston and Cambridge or whatever, offer extended tax breaks of some kind for having populations, more remote populations, more remote workers?
Help me understand, though. I'm not quite sure what would be who would get the tax breaks.
The companies. So the companies, because, well, think of it this way. If you could, this would be the hard part, right? If you could prove somehow that, okay, because these companies are giving, letting more people work from home, there's less people commuting, there's less people on the roads, there's less need to maintain the roads, there's less pollution in the air, there's less, right? Is that not worth some type of incentive at the state level?
Well, I mean, listen, I'm for tax breaks, but I think the tax break should be geared towards the working men and women that actually are creating creating the revenue for the Commonwealth. And so, I'm all, I think enough for the so-called corporate giveaways, and let's go out and figure out how do we, again, reduce or eliminate the gas tax for a period of time. How do we, one of the amendments I voted for was to double the estate tax. In Massachusetts, we have an estate tax limit of $1 million. And so per person. And so what that does is if you go $1 over, this is sort of a cliff. If you go $1 over, you pay tax on $1. So if you have $1 million, you pay nothing. If you have $1,001, you pay tax on the whole thing. It's absurd. The number hasn't been adjusted. Anybody in our community that owns a house and has a little bit of money in their 401k is going to be over the $1 million threshold, because property values are so, insanely high. And so, to me, the working men and women of the state don't realize, they don't think of themselves as rich. They don't think, $1 million is a lot of money, until you say to them, hey, we can sell your house for $800,000. All of a sudden you say, oh my God, my little house that I paid, $150,000 or $200,000 for is now worth that much. But that's what's happening to a lot of families in this town. And so to me, there are tax breaks that we ought to be looking at. I think we ought to look at lowering the rate itself, the income tax rate. I support, obviously I support child tax credits, but I think we need to do things that are across the board for the people that are creating the revenue source for the Commonwealth.
Are you alone in thinking that, or is there a good push for that up in the State House? Is there pushback?
Well, so the speaker, I'm honored that Speaker Mariano put me on the Committee on Revenue. It used to be called the Taxation Committee. And so a lot of these issues are things that we're talking about right now, on the committee. And so, I think there are people that agree with that philosophy. I haven't really felt out yet if it's the majority view. I mean, certainly on the gas tax, it's not the majority view right now. But I think that when you see states like Connecticut, when you see, a Democratic state, when you see states like Maryland, Republican governor, Democratic legislature, you see states like Florida that are suspending their gas tax and recognizing that, hey, let's be practical here. I fill up my gas tank. If you eliminated the gas tax, I would save $7 every time I filled up my tank. So that's real money to real people on a daily basis when they're filling up their tank. But then when they go to the store, my wife goes to Market Basket on a weekly basis, and typically she'd spend $350 to $370. Now I look at the bills, and they're $425 to $435. That's inflation driven, but it's also driven by a part of inflation is the cost of fuel and the cost of delivery that then gets baked into the prices. And so it's not a gimmick. It's not a feel good thing to say, we can afford to give up $100 million to give people a break during the course of the summer when the gas price is going to go through the roof, and so I need to do a good job of working with my colleagues and stressing to them why this is a good thing and why we, as the Democratic Party, need to return to our roots to really focus on the working class.
I need to get back to the Tip O'Neill Democrat.
Absolutely.
That's right.
It's funny. I was watching on Bill Maher recently. Paul Begala, President Clinton's former top political strategist, was there, and he said, at some point, he goes, we Democrats, we have two secret labs, one in Brooklyn and one in Berkeley, where we have PhDs that are trying to figure out how can we piss off the working class the most. Yeah. And then he went on to say, he goes, we used to be the party of the factory floor, and now we've become the party of the faculty lounge. And, and it really, like, I was listening to him say, this guy is spot on. Like, it's like, if our message isn't focused on our own members of our party in Massachusetts, but 50% of the people, or more than 50% of the people in the Commonwealth are not Democrat or Republican because they're fed up with both parties. That's why we've gone back and forth, toggled back and forth between Democrat and Republican governors, because people are saying, hey, I want some balance. I want somebody that's going to fight for me.
Absolutely. That's why I walked away. I walked away about 8 years ago. It wasn't my Democratic Party. I grew up a Democrat, a liberal. I know I was proud of it. But that a conservative now is an old liberal Democrat.
That's right.
Think about it, right? Yeah. A conservative today is an old liberal Democrat.
There was a meme about that when that whole
Elon Musk thing went. Yeah, the middle, the right, the left, the left.
Figure meme, yeah.
So we have a couple of questions here, Jeff. Let's see. One of the people commented are there plans in the works for exiting Winthrop through Revere / East Boston once the 10,000 units are built at Suffolk Downs?
Yeah, I mean that's so. Unfortunately, for Winthrop, we were sort of left out of that permitting process. 2/3 of that site is Boston, 1/3 of it's Revere. The project is fully permitted, and so it's a fait accompli. It's going to happen. So now the challenge is, how do you fix, or how do you address some of the transportation nightmares that are going to come? A couple of ways that are being explored right now is there's an access road for trucks along 1A, sort of going down towards in the East Boston side, down where some of the fish factories are there. So right before the Chelsea Street Bridge, and so there's an access road to Logan Airport there. At least one property owner along McClellan Highway has proposed to the state that he would, at his own expense, build an access road along the water all the way from Bell Circle down to connect it, which would take at least 5,000 trucks a day off McClellan Highway and put them on the back access road. And so that's something that's being actively explored right now by MassDOT. There's some concern about are you going to block the public from access to the water there? But the reality is right now the public has no access to that water. You'd have to traverse private property to get there. But that's one thing that's being looked at. It wouldn't be a huge dent in the problem. The other piece is the Suffolk Downs property will have direct connection to both Suffolk Downs and Beachmont Station, train stations. And so one of the things the Commonwealth's going to have to do is increase the service along the Blue Line, because the drive will be to get these young people that are living there in these 10,000 units to take the Blue Line when they're going to and from Boston, that type of thing. So that's something that's being actively looked at, like what needs to be done there. In addition, we did get, thanks to the work of Senator Markey and Congresswoman Clark, we got several $1 million in this year's budget to do the engineering and design of a new commuter rail station at the old Wonderland dog track area. And so the idea would be you'd build a commuter rail station that would connect to Wonderland. Because right now, if you take the commuter rail from Rockport, Gloucester area, in order to get to Boston, you'd have to go all the way to South Station, get off, go to North Station to come back. There's going to be a direct connection. So that won't directly, I guess what I'm saying is we're looking at sort of a holistic approach, and I'm coming late to the game because I just got elected, but we're looking at what can we do to sort of fix some of the traffic problem in each little area, which in the aggregate will hopefully take care of some of this. But the truth be told, you're going to have 10,000 new units there and probably 20,000 new people. Again, it's 10 or 15 years before that's built, before it's completed. But at the end of the day, that is certainly going to give us all agita, as they say.
That is a lot of people to add to an already stressed infrastructure. And so I actually want to, I see the questions on the board, and I'll get them to you, but I and Todd have had this discussion multiple times on this, over 40 episodes. And I've noticed it. See, when you live there, you don't really see it. But I was in the military. Then I went into U.S. Customs down here in South Florida. But I always go back to Winthrop. Always go back to Winthrop. Me and two of my buddies are throwing a town party at the Elks on June 25th. Just for the town, for anybody. It's not just our friends. $20 come in. We got a DJ. We got food. Just for Winthrop. People to get together. Bring 5 friends. We don't care, right?
Cool.
Every time I went back, I noticed just more areas that are built up, more stop signs, more cars, more people. And I started thinking, when we were doing the show, I really took a hard thought. And the infrastructure in Winthrop was not built for this pounding that it's taking in the last 20 years, 10 years. They're building condos. They want to build condos here, condos there. As far as Winthrop goes and the infrastructure, and I know that's a town council thing, but what's your opinion on it? You live there. Do you see everything has a tipping point? Right?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, it's when you're engaging in development. One of the things, for example, Revere, there's mitigation money when larger development projects are proposed to move forward, there's always mitigation and linkage fees. If you're going to add 300 units or you're going to add 100 units, well, what's the burden on the sewer system and the water system? And so therefore you have to upgrade the piping for the area around your property, which saves the city money and helps improve the system to make it sustainable for the new burden. And so I think Winthrop, at the local level, I think Winthrop has to make sure as it looks forward to, or as it moves forward with it, whatever development it's going to do, it needs to make sure that there's going to be linkage and there's going to be, how do we improve some of the infrastructure, and it's going to be a big challenge for the town. I think the people of the town and their elected leaders at the local level need to decide, do we want Winthrop to be the bedroom community that it's been? Some of the state zoning laws have changed to sort of force communities to allow more development, multi-families and larger projects to build more housing stock because the cost of rent is so high. Winthrop's, going to be there and have to make these decisions. I, for one, moved from Revere to Winthrop because I like Winthrop as it is, but we also have to recognize there is some room for movement in advance. But fortunately for me, there was a town council issues. And when you hear me speak on that, it'll be as a resident expressing a concern about things like, can the system handle it?
A resident with a little more stroke than the average resident.
Well,
I don't know yet. Talk to me in a year.
Well, this actually ties into a question I wanted to ask, Jeff, because you were around back. This has come up, the water meter and the water situation at Larson Rink. I'm sure you're aware, Jeff, that in the current work they've done, they've brought a new water line for the rink to the rink. They just haven't tied it into a meter yet, I don't think. But it's in the old meter. The question here is, what is your understanding of how that meter works? Because in the context is, we're told that you really don't know which water it's measuring. It's just measuring for both the rink and the middle school, or do you have any clarity on that?
No, listen, when I was council president, I was taught to trot on the water bills. When I ran for council president a couple of times unsuccessfully, the water bills and the sewer bills are something that I just found outrageous. I still find them outrageous, and this isn't meant as I have a lot of respect for the people that are serving on the council and the town administration. But the issue for me has always been one of fairness and equity. As a taxpayer, I can deduct single family owner and taxpayer, I can deduct my property tax. I can't deduct my water and sewer bill. And so when you hide the true cost of delivering services from the municipal level over to the water sewer department, you're cheating me out of my deduction and not just increasing the cost of water, but you're increasing my actual real out-of-pocket cost because I'm losing the deduction. But it's always been an issue with the town on municipal buildings. If you charge the schools and you charge the rink water sewer charges, then you're going to increase you effectively have to increase their operating budgets to make up for the increase, and then turn around and it's sort of like you're taking money from one hand and putting in another. So I think that's always been the logic of the town, is not to charge. And I don't know if it's changed recently, but when I was there, certainly there was always, you don't charge the municipal buildings, because if you charge them, you're just going to increase their revenue numbers, or their appropriation number, so they can pay that bill. So all you're doing is taking from one hand to pay the other hand. So that's why, at least it was done back then. I haven't looked at it close enough recently to know whether the rink or which school is tied to what meter. I couldn't tell you that.
So do you know, what's your opinion or view on this? Because now the rink is an enterprise fund, right? So it's supposed to pay all of its bills. So do we meter it? Do we abate it, keep it abated like the other government buildings? Like what would be the right thing to do?
Yeah, at the end of the day, if you, that's a decision really for the town. I think the town leaders have to decide, do they want to, if they want to have the enterprise fund pay that, that's fine. But what you give with one hand, you take with another. So what's going to happen is the enterprise fund is going to then increase the cost of whatever they're charging to the end user, whether it's the people that are renting the ice, whether it's the people that are using basketball courts, whether, like, if you charge Parks and Rec, for example, for use of water services, water sewer services, what are they going to increase their fee? It might be a nominal fee, but at the end of the day, it's there. again, that's up to the town to make those decisions. I mean, frankly, I think you're missing the boat to some degree, though, on the water sewer issue, because to me, the big issue with water sewer is the number of employees in the payroll that's charged against the water sewer department. That's really where the money's buried. I mean, the last time I looked at it, and this was quite a while ago, you got an issue I'm really interested in. Let's assume hypothetically the town of Winthrop charges $10 million to the ratepayer. The MWRA charges $5 million to the town. So there's a double effect on the, if we pay $5 million to the MWRA, we're collecting $10 million. Again, I'm ballpark, it's probably a little higher now. The issue is, the law says the town can only charge what the MWRA charges plus the direct cost of delivering the service. That's right in the statute. That's the law. Well, in the town budget, it refers to indirect cost. That's a problem. The law says direct cost.
Kurt, you watching?
We're going to be addressing all line items in the budget.
But the second part of it is, over the years, as the town has had budget problems, instead of laying off workers in DPW, what they've done is they've essentially moved them over to the Water Sewer Trust Fund. And so by putting them over there, you don't go for an override. You can just raise the fee. And so if you look at that $5 million, that 50% that doesn't get paid to the MWRA, last I looked at it, again, in fairness, this was probably 2 years ago. I think in any detail, I think it was 19 and a half employees are paid by water sewer. And the question is, are 19 and a half employees giving full-time service to water sewer? I want to be clear, I'm not criticizing the leadership there, and I'm not criticizing the workers because they bust their butt for the town, and we should be grateful to have them. The question is, who should pay for them? I'd much rather see the town come and say, hey, we need $1 million override to pay for these workers instead of burying them in the water sewer fund, and then we artificially pay a higher water and sewer bill that I can't deduct unless I'm a multifamily.
Right.
Another viewer messaged in, and it's going back to the T. Late night MBTA service during the tunnel construction, meaning how are they going to handle it? It says it's hard being a service worker trying to get back home late night now, as it is, and Uber and Lyft are super expensive right now. So,
yeah, that's something that I'll take note of and make sure when Senator Edwards and I talk to Secretary Tesla, see is there a way to get, that. While the work is being done in the tunnel, is a way to get that done for us. So we'll definitely make sure that's part of the discussion. And maybe once we have that meeting and get some results, we can come back on the show, or I can come back on the show and sort of fill you in on that.
I have a hard-hitting question. I mean, I know you're running unopposed, so I don't usually do this.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm serious. I don't
Jeff,
usually do this.
know.
Todd tells you because we want people to come back on the show. We don't want people to go, oh, see, I got sabotaged.
What are you doing, Scott?
No, you ask me anything, I'm here.
What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? They asked it of the president. I have to ask it of you.
She's gonna get mad at me, but so my wife is sitting, and I'm in my dining room. My wife is sitting across from me, and so the quick funny story is, when we were dating, we quickly knew we were meant for each other. And so the night we met, the people that introduced us said, hey, you two are going to get married. All we ask is to be in the wedding because we made tonight possible. And 7 months later, I proposed. 7 months later, we got married and coming up on 18 years and 6 kids. But anyway, so about 5-6 months into dating, where we had talked about marriage. And then when I decided to sort of knock her off for a pat, so she didn't think that I was going to ask her around Christmas. So she said, well, so what do you say about marriage? And I go, marriage? What's my favorite ice cream? And she goes, I don't know. I go, you don't even know my favorite ice cream. How could you possibly be my wife? This is great. She was so mad at me. So it's so funny. You're sitting there asking the question and she's right here. But right now, I would probably have to say it's Snickers.
Oh, it's a rotator?
Well, I guess when you have 6 kids.
Chocolate peanut butter is historically been, but I do like Snickers.
see, now when you don't have kids, you like stuff like vanilla, coffee, chocolate. But when you have kids, all of a sudden it turns into Oreo cookie ice cream, cookie dough ice cream, Snickers ice. Like you end up eating stuff that they like, right? Like, I hate that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's wrong with me? I like all those, and I like the Oreo cookie donuts.
Personally, I like rum raisin.
Okay.
So my stepdaughter works at an ice cream place. She just graduated high school. And she said at her store that they call rum raisin the old people ice cream.
Must be popular in Florida.
What is that? Come on, man.
Yeah, I do want to, I'm sure if you have other questions, but I do want to give one plug.
Yeah.
And this might surprise you. To my colleague in the Senate, to Senator Edwards, you during when I was in the green room, you talked about her having 2 jobs. She hasn't been a city council since she resigned. I think sometime right around April, they had a special election to fill the seat. So she's only the senator now. But just on a personal level, I would never betray private confidences. But I will say the first time I met her, where we sat down and talked, she leaned over and said to me, "Have you ever been skydiving?" I said, "No." She goes, "Would you go with me?" I said, "Sure." So I agreed to go skydiving. She goes, "You gave me your word, you'd go." So I said, "Okay." So, our plan is to try to get it done this summer. My wife's ready to divorce me. She goes, "I don't care what promise you made to Senator Edwards. You're not going skydiving. You have 6 kids."
I can't believe
it. To me, any state senator that says, "Let's go skydiving for relationship building," I think is a pretty good person. And at some point, hopefully, if Todd can control himself and not be in attack mode, maybe we'll get the senator on at some point in the future.
I always say she seems like a very nice person. She does. I mean, just because her politics aren't in a line with mine and Todd's doesn't make her a bad person.
Yeah.
And she seems like a very nice person. I mean, there's people in the town council that I have issue with because of their policies and how they want to present things, but it doesn't make them bad people. And I think a lot of people get caught up in that.
Absolutely. And that's the problem with politics today is, you can disagree without being disagreeable. And it's not even disagreeable anymore. I mean, the politics, it's like, if you don't agree with someone, then you're a terrible person. You're this, you're that. And the reality is, like, the senator and I don't philosophically on whether it's driver's licenses or whether it's a whole bunch of issues. We don't agree on any of it. But at the end of the day, we both care about how do we improve the quality of life of the working class people of our district. And I mean, that literally, as corny as it sounds, I mean, that's most of the conversations we have is how do we do this stuff? And sometimes we obviously disagree on how to go about it. But at the end of the day, you don't run for office to be, getting up there and become a pincushion to get people poking and prodding at you for $73,000 a year. Especially, Lydia was a top, was really good at what she did in her field and could be making far more money than she is. So just for what it's worth.
Yeah, no, and I understand that 100%. And it's good that you two can work together. I'm sure there are constituents in both houses that don't get along and don't agree. And so Winthrop, I guess, is fortunate in that respect where the two of you. Oh, wait, we got a phone call.
It's me.
You're on Winthrop Live. Hello.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're on.
Oh, sorry, Scott. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
Hi, Kathleen.
You're on with State Representative Jeff Turco.
Hey, Kathleen.
Oh. Hey, hon. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, living the dream.
Absolutely good.
So what I want to talk about, and I apologize, Jeff, that I was going to contact you and I haven't done that yet. But Scott and Todd have been really receptive to having a conversation about mental health. As you know, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And Todd, how do I get rid of my echo? Any idea?
Turn off your computer.
What do I do?
Are you watching? Is your computer on?
No, I'm on my phone. What do I turn off?
I don't know.
Radio, TV.
Yeah, if it's not for you, we can hear you fine. So if you can just push through.
All right. I'll ignore myself. we have a huge crisis right now, and it's not about people wearing masks. It's not COVID. It's none of it. For the first time, to my knowledge, one of the top leaders of death is from suicide.
Okay.
And I apologize for people if it's coming across like delayed. I actually don't mean it that way. But, you know, I know Todd has been so wonderful to, you know, have different, you know, platforms out here. But Jeff, I'd really like to have I know how wonderful you are and that you are very in tune to addiction issues and mental health issues. But I think we can do more. Um, so again, I thank Todd and Scott. Let's have a conversation.
All right.
Listen, I totally agree. I would be happy, and I'd make the commitment now, Kathleen, and to Scott and Todd, that if you want to have another show in the near future, I'm happy to get some of my colleagues on the Hill that are really experts, like Ruth Balza from Newton. I teamed up with her, to the surprise of a lot of people, on trying to reform the Section 35 law in Massachusetts, so that people that families that go and seek help for family members with drug issues, mental health issues, that go to get sent to Bridgewater, they no longer should be sent to Bridgewater. They should go to private beds that are focused on treatment and not custody. And you know, a lot of people said, "You sure you know what you signed on to?" I said, "Absolutely." I said, "I worked it when I ran the sheriff's office in Worcester County. I saw it." So I'm committed to have a show and to help bring some of the experts on at the State House and in the private sector, and have a real thoughtful discussion. Because Kathleen, you're dead on. I mean, unfortunately, the amount of mental illness and the amount of people requiring assistance right now, between our kids and our seniors and everyone in between, is just shocking. And it's, I was with somebody today who's a regional manager of DCF, and he said to me, the number of kids, it's crazy. He just can't believe how many kids and families are seeking help right now for mental illness because of COVID and the repercussions.
So Kathleen, we'll set something up, and we'll let you know in advance. We'll announce it. We'll put it on the Winthrop Votes Facebook group. And we have no problem addressing that, at least through our platform. So is that good?
No, that would be great. Okay. So if you can just give me 1 second, sure. I'll end with this.
Uh-oh.
No, she's there.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm listening to the echo.
Just push through. Just push right through.
Which has never happened before in our society. Suicide is one of the highest rates of death.
Okay.
That's unheard of.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, all right, Kathleen, listen, we got to get Jeff back to his family.
No, I apologize. I apologize, Scott.
No, you don't have to apologize.
I just think this is way more important than a lot of stuff.
And I promise you, we will address it. We have no problem addressing that, at least on the platform that Todd and I have. That's right. And Jeff said he's willing to talk again about it too.
No, I know Jeff is, because he knows. But I just think it's not being paid attention to. And again, there's only so much I can do about that. So I'll just bid you, whatever the word is.
And we always appreciate the call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks, Todd, for bringing this up.
You got it.
Have
a good night. Well, there you go.
So we got him back on again. He has to come back, man.
Absolutely.
We found some use for him.
I'll wear my ears.
Wear
all right.
His Rodolph ears.
We do want to get you back to your family.
Yes.
Let's have give us, if someone wants to get involved with your campaign, your re-election campaign, how can they get involved?
Don't call
Is there
me.
anything?
Don't call me. Don't call me.
My cell phone is 50. Yeah, Todd's in charge of my Western Mass representative. He's stationed in
Is this
Albany,
allowed?
New York. My cell phone I give to everyone is 508-450-8843. And my personal email, which some people make fun of me for, is jrturco, Turco, @AOL.com. So
Hey, I have an AOL account, buddy.
It's great, isn't it? I literally, when I was first running for rep, my consultant says, I need your personal email. So I sent it. He called me up. He goes, please tell me you're not really using AOL. I go,
You have mail.
I was paying $39.95 a month for that when I was a teenager.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, it's free. Why would I get rid of it?
You got mail.
I have a Gmail account, but I use my AOL. Hey, listen, an AOL account is way better than having a Yahoo account. That's all I'm going to say.
Todd has Yahoo.
Oh, you're a Yahoo.
Even better, Hotmail.
Yeah.
Hotmail. Roadrunner.
Well, hey, guys, thank you very much for this opportunity. Seriously,
Jeff.
you let me know when. I'd be happy to come back on. And I think Kathleen hit a really, really serious issue that we can talk about at some point. Like I said, I'll ask a couple of my colleagues that are really experts in the field to come on and help give us some information.
Absolutely, Jeff. And thank you very much for your time.
Yes,
You got it. Thank you, guys.
so
Appreciate
much.
it. Have a good night.
All
Take
right.
care.
Good night.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Scintillating.
Yeah,
Scintillating.
very good. Very good. Good interview.
I think he takes the questions well. Like I said, I said it earlier, dude. I believe in him. He's
He seems genuine. I mean, he is genuine. It doesn't seem it. You can tell he's genuine. Look at the dude's a state rep, and he put on reindeer antlers.
Oh yeah, you got to see some
Come
of the
on.
nonsense.
You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, what does that tell you? He's not uptight. He's not pompous. Yeah. So he's good for Winthrop.
Yeah.
He's good for Winthrop.
He's around. I'll drag him down to the town party.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. All right, buddy. Well, good show.
Yeah, and then like we always say, right? All politics starts at the local level.
You got it.
So happy that everybody that watched this tonight. I can't wait for everyone else to watch it. I think we're making headway with expanding, not just members. I think you noticed we had a bunch of new members this last week. There's chatter in the community about the additional pieces we're adding. So this is all good stuff. So I thank everybody that watches. I thank you. I thank Jeff. I thank God. Have at it.
Yeah. Also, we didn't forget. We still want to highlight local businesses.
Yep.
In the future, any local businesses that want to come on, talk to us, tell us about yourselves. It has nothing to do with politics and everything to do with you. If you know someone that has a local business, encourage them to come on. It can only help. It can't hurt.
Yep. We still have places we grew up. I'm going to be doing a Sunnyside Ave Marsh Pico Park little segment where I grew up.
So I'm thinking, you know what? And we had already discussed this.
Yeah.
Maybe once a month, we'll do a side episode on maybe a Tuesday night.
Okay.
And we can get the unofficial mayor of Winthrop, Bob Gillis, the unofficial historian.
Oh,
and
good idea.
we can basically talk about Winthrop without getting into the politics of it, just like what it used to be. And that will always lead up to what it can be and the potential that it has. So I think we're going to start working on a show for that.
Yeah, that sounds
very light, very informative about Winthrop, because we are about Winthrop. And like I always say, thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing this. You are the engine that drives this machine. Without you, it would just be me and Todd talking. And well, like I always say, All right. Well, I guess we're out, buddy. We'll see everybody next Monday night. And again, share this. Share.
Share. Thank you.
All right.